Good morning. It's the Call Flow Radio Show, and you're on the air.
I always enjoy that. It just gets me in the mood every single time. So I see Fran's happy face, So we have Doug Stanley in the audience today, or in the studio today. We have him in the audience every day. I know he's got us on all day, every day. So
in the background.
Yes. Hey, man, how are you doing?
Doing well.
Good.
We're into summer.
It doesn't quite feel, or it seems like it's kind of resisting showing up. Is that true to you?
Well, I think those 50-degree nights help with that. But, we're getting there. We're not.
Well, I think last June we were using the air conditioner and wishing it was a little cooler. So I'll take this weather any day.
As long as we can get it.
You got it.
We had board supervisors meeting this Tuesday.
Really?
Yeah,
Again?
We did.
You guys keep having those things.
We had a full house on Tuesday night. In part, we were discussing the board had tabled the month before discussion about zoning ordinance amendments on our flag restrictions. The board approved Tuesday night an emergency ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance to increase the maximum size for an individual flag from 40 square feet, or 5 by 8, up to 120 square feet.
That's significant.
It is, and it was in direct response to some citizen concerns from some existing flags out in the county that had predated our ordinance change last year. The county had permitted 3 flags of 40 square foot each, or 120 square feet.
Okay.
So the board's, I think, the amendment, the compromise, now lets an individual say, I can take that 120 square feet and do 2 60 square foot flags or one larger flag.
Okay.
So that was put in as emergency ordinance, so it went into effect immediately. It'll be followed up by hearings at the Planning Commission and the board level. But, I think, again, I think it was the board's compromise in trying to take care of those individuals. So everybody we were aware of with those American flags that had come to us that took care of their issue. I think one of the things that people don't understand is that the county, the board, staff, we cannot, and this is based on legal advice, distinguish the American flag differently than any other flag. And we want to.
Right.
But Supreme Court rulings basically, except from free speech standpoint, all we can regulate is the height, the size, the area, setbacks, things like that.
Everybody's got the same opportunity to fly whatever flag that they
Absolutely.
want. And there are going to be some that are offensive to other people. And so I kind of I question that. I mean, I could put something super offensive out there. What's the who regulates this, or who actually?
Really, it's just from the zoning standpoint. You can talk to the sheriff, you can talk to the Commonwealth attorney. We had a couple, I'll say, very offensive flags that are out there that were reported, and they met the size requirement, they met the setback requirement. So some not even on a flagpole. 2 of them we had to deal with in the past year, but that's. A lot of people fought for those rights for us to have that freedom of speech, and we respect that.
Yeah.
But at least this puts everybody on the same playing field.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that, actually. I am very happy. I mean, I don't like offensive flags, but I'm glad that Farmville is supporting this kind of
and it certainly allows those that want to honor their country, honor their service to the armed forces, to be able to fly a larger flag. It's going to support that.
Well, and hopefully now there's not so much attention on it, and it's not going to be such a big deal.
Board also, we had a couple other important things. We had a public hearing on our comprehensive agreement for the Sandy River Reservoir project. That's a $52+ million project, as we talked about, that would put the infrastructure in for an 8 million gallon water plant with an initial 2 million gallon actual treatability from day one. Would also help construct a water line over to the Nottoway line. We tabled action on that because we're still working with the Department of General Services on a contract and with the Virginia Resource Authority on funding. So this was just another step in the process, and we got that item out of the way. The board also approved the appropriations resolution for the FY24 budget, which starts in a couple weeks on July 1. Total budget, $69,732,747. Of that, the school budget is $29,088,802, In the cafeteria budget, $1,469,883. So we're still waiting on the state budget. The latest we've heard is probably the last week of June that they will actually come back and meet. I think they're waiting until after the primaries on June 20th to see, kind of get through the election process.
Really? You think they'd do something crazy like that?
But, we'll have to come back. And if there are any changes to what our guesstimates were for state dollars, we'll have to come back and make some amendments and clean that up. I think it's a lesson learned. In past years, we all used to wait around for the state to finish so we could finish.
Okay.
But when they drag on, they drag on. We have to, we had to give a budget to the school board by May 1 so they can issue contracts. They can't issue contracts until we give them a budget. So
I was wondering that. And are any of these figures up from years past? Is it a definite just
They are. And
standard increase?
Just for example, there is additional funding for state teacher increases, their portion of the state portion of the funds. But the governor was trying to do more, or the Senate was trying to do even more than that, or the House was trying to do less. And so at the end of the day, all those things have to get worked out. We shot for the House budget, which is the most conservative of those three budgets. We took that, plugged that in the budget, and if we get more, we'll come back and add it in. If not, we've got a budget and we're moving forward.
It's almost like you know what you're doing. I
won't
tell anybody.
You certainly learn over the years. The other one of the things we did too, we had a update we do updates from our community partners, and this month we had an update from Piedmont Court Services. Piedmont Court Services, based here in Farmville, serves the greater region. They do both local probation and pretrial services. Probation is an alternate sentencing option for the court system. They provide services to Amelia, Appomattox, Buckingham, Charlotte, Cumberland, Lunenburg, Nottoway, Powhatan, and Prince Edward. They use evidence-based practices during the course of supervision. They conduct initial screenings of offenders and the risk. Based on the risk, they develop a program to work with them. As an example, one would be a probationer that scores high in the drug use category. Staff will set a goal of abstaining from drug use and develop activities for the probationer to meet that goal. Of course, we do testing along the way and all those things. But, you can't put everybody in jail. And a lot of folks just, they fall off the wagon, they slip, they make a mistake. And the job of probation is to work with them to get back into being a productive member of society. And we do great work. I think through the third quarter, they had 406 court placements. So that's through 3 quarters of the year, and I think their success or closure rate, 80% for the misdemeanors and 63% for felonies.
Nice.
So that's certainly
that's impressive. Actually.
It is. It actually is. And
what kind of support then group or support programs do they have? I mean, I'm sorry to
No. They have all kinds of therapy programs and group programs.
Is that like through Crossroads or?
Well, I think that you partner a lot of different, but they have folks that are meeting one-on-one with these individuals.
Okay.
I think one of the more interesting statistics that I pay attention to is they've completed 6,568 hours of community service.
Oh.
That's one of the other programs they do. We actually use them on. We've had folks pick up litter at the landfill and on county roads. And so those are part of their process is having to give back in that way as well. So we really appreciate the contributions they can make to help our community a little bit better.
Awesome.
While they're working off their time.
Right.
The couple other things. When I mentioned the budget, of course, this year we did a 3-cent tax increase for the Sandy River project and 1 cent for the elementary school project. We did have 5% across the board salary increase for the county, 7% for schools. Plus, we funded initiatives to move to a 4-year reassessment cycle, and then maybe the next month I'll come back and we'll talk about reassessment because that's going to be getting started in after July 1. And that will go into effect January 1 of 2025. So it's a couple years down the road. But believe it or not, we have to start that process now.
Right. Okay.
Also, updating our comprehensive plan. Later this fall, we're going to be updating the county's comprehensive plan, which is really your 20-year vision for your community. And I think 2014 was the last plan. It's supposed to be reviewed every 5 years, but guess what happened in 2019, 2020?
We were all wearing masks.
And it's hard to have a community dialogue or discussion to get community feedback and have a comprehensive plan update when you're going through COVID. So we held off on that, and that was also when I came in 20. So we're anxious to get that.
20-year plan's pretty. What am I motivated?
Well, you've got to be focused on the future. You've got to make decisions in the next, obviously in the current time frame, but you've got to be focused on where you want to go as a community. And I think particularly from an economic development, job creation standpoint, that we need to zero in on the things that where we need to be investing our money. One of the other things, too, we're going to be doing later this year is a economic development strategic plan to really look at targeted industries and, what do our citizens who are in the workforce, where's their skill set? What can we help bring in to help maybe so they don't have to commute an hour, those types of things. And we've also got funding in there for a regional economic development initiative. We're working with the Commonwealth Regional Council and our sister counties that touch us to work on setting up a regional economic development group that can help work with the state to bring in economic development prospects. So all interesting things on the horizon, stuff coming up in the next few months. We also had some significant increases in public safety funding, not only for some additional things like overtime and part-time for the sheriff's office, but also our emergency radio communication system. We started putting money away for that. We're looking at upgrading our system because we have really poor service out in the rural areas of the county, particularly for our sheriff's office and our first responders, other first responders. And we also upped our fire department contributions. We had a request to go up, I think, to $85,000 per fire company. We were able to get to $80,000. The goal is next year to increase it to $85,000. But so each of those 8 departments got an additional supplement this year. We also had a public hearing the other night for our FY 24-29 secondary 6-year plan.
Oh, the FY 24-29.
So
of course. I was thinking about this morning.
That's the VDOT's 6-year improvement plan. I always laugh when I talk to folks and said, my road's been on the 6-year improvement plan for 30 years. Unfortunately, what happens is, especially like this year hit us, we had cost escalations. And VDOT, we didn't add any roads to the plan. We're trying to make sure that the ones that are on the plan get completed within that 6-year term. We do have a list of ones that will be added next year, but in the next 12 months, there's a portion of Briary Way, a 0.6-mile portion of Old Oak, and 1.3 miles of Falkland Road that will get completed in the next, hopefully by the end of this construction season. So we're excited, those folks that live on gravel roads and basically eat the dust and all that stuff throughout the year, especially the summer, will be able to get a little bit of relief and get some projects knocked out.
It's always it was fun when they did ours. It felt so special to get our road paved.
Well, and Prince Edward has a lot of unpaved roads.
Yes,
and the reality is you have to prioritize them, and the board's good about the ones that have the higher volume traffic, more houses. Those typically get higher up on the list, but it's a process, and folks are certainly welcome to write letters and emails anytime throughout the year. We'll keep them in a file, and the next time it comes up to discuss the
who decides that?
So the board sets the schedule on the local roads. On the major roads like Route 15, Route 460, VDOT controls and makes those improvements. We don't have that say, but on the local roads, the 600 series roads, we make the 700 series, we make those decisions.
So it mostly comes down to how many people and how bad the road, I suppose.
Or another factor is the cost of maintenance. Sometimes we'll have a gravel road that has a hill that it washes out every thunderstorm. Those typically become more problematic, and we try to expedite those in the process as well. The board approved a contract. We had to buy a new air handler. It's a $20,000 piece of equipment as part of our HVAC system at the courthouse. We also bought a new compactor. We're getting ready next month to open the renovated Rice convenience site. That's the trash site out there on Aspen Hill out and off in Rice 460 East. That site will be actually, I think they're starting paving today, but within the next several weeks we'll be ready to transition back from our temporary site and reopen the new site. And we've ordered a new compactor unit. That's the unit that actually compacts the trash into the unit there. So we're excited about that as well. And financially, we had a number of transfer. A lot of times at the end of the year, you've got housekeeping items. The school had some additional state and federal funds they received, and they asked us to appropriate those. So that's one of the roles of the Board of Supervisors. School board can't spend money unless the board appropriates it. So if the Fed say, hey, you've got an extra $300,000 to help kids in special needs, the school system has to make that request, and the board has to appropriate those funds. Last item, we have a local probation and parole office out on Industrial Drive. They're looking to relocate that office, and one of the locations they're looking at is over behind Lowe's, and the Board of Supervisors had the option to say, DOC, we want you to have a public hearing on this, or no, we don't want you to have a public hearing on it. The board said, since it's already in the community and we've already got those jobs here, we don't need to have a public hearing. So that was another item the board had to deal with in the course of the meeting. A couple other things I wanted to highlight on. One, back on June 1st, the county hired Sean Howard. Sean has been appointed as our county's first IT manager. He comes from us with over 15 years of experience, most recently working for Cumberland County in a similar position. He'll be working side by side with our current outside IT consultant for the next year as he assumes the responsibilities and establishes the department. I think one of the first things first few months we've got for him is meeting with each department head and constitutional officer really to determine what their IT needs are and make sure we're meeting them. Last year, our domestic violence facility, Madeline's House, had closed down. They lost some of their state funding. And we're working with our DSS director, Kim Allen, and the Department of Criminal Justice Services and the other localities in the region to talk about that closure and ways to identify another local option for services. We stress the need for localities as part of the process to work with us, not be a top-down answer from the state.
Good.
With no local resources, i.e. no local facility to take folks to, our DSS staff is forced to transport domestic violence victims to places like Lynchburg, Danville, and Richmond. Those are our closest locations. So if you have a mother and three children and all their family support is here in Farmville, it's really hard for them to to make that transition if they got to find a job and all that stuff. So we think there needs to be a local option, and we're working to trying to get something back here in our community.
That sounds really good. Needed.
I mentioned the Economic Development Initiative with the Regional Commission. Again, that's moving, and one of the things that through the data we're looking at, Prince Edward really is the regional hub of this area, and you look at and I think a lot of that is driven by the Longwoods, the Hampton Sydneys, Central Health, but significant amount of the jobs, the money that's paid out in wages in Prince Edward that's transported to our neighboring jurisdictions, it's significant. It really is. And we've learned that we really haven't fully revived from the COVID-19 lockdowns. And the other fact, 2/3 of our employees in our region travel outside the region every day for work.
Really?
So there's opportunity there for us to create jobs to bring those folks back home. I think it's one of the things that we'll continue to work on.
Well, last time you were here, you had several projects that were kind of one of the ones that I'm remembering the most was there was a proposal about affordable housing, kind of geared towards helping the homeless and that. Did that move ahead at all, or?
repeat that one more time.
As a
trying to make sure I've.
Yeah, I remember things incorrectly at times, but I remembered a proposal for a housing.
I think you're talking about the Longwood Village proposal
yes,
in town.
Yes.
So that's still, as far as I understand, they're still working on that. It's not under the county jurisdiction.
Oh, okay.
The town is also looking at a planned unit development ordinance, which is related to that, but separate, and that it affects other properties as well.
Well, that brings up another question: is how do you operate with the local town? How do you operate with Longwood, or does Longwood have anything that you guys?
Well, I'll give you a great example.
Okay.
One of their local fraternities had a pig roast that was out in the county back. I think it was late April, early May. And because it was out in the county and had live music, they had to get a permit from the Board of Supervisors.
Okay.
So we work with them on making sure they have adequate law enforcement. They have a proper number of porta-johns, that they take care of traffic and trash and those things. So in those instances, yes. We do meet with the Gowns. Hampton Sydney and Longwood, we call them the Gowns. We do meet with them, probably I'd say at least on a quarterly basis, informally.
Okay.
So we certainly help and support them, but because Hampton Sydney is under kind of quote unquote our zoning jurisdiction, everything else, we have a closer relationship. We do the building inspections out of Hampton Sydney when they're built a new science building this year. So we have a closer relationship per se with them, but. Like on our data center project, we've been talking with the computer science department at Longwood about gearing, having classes and programs geared towards the data center sector. So certainly there are ways to collaborate.
They are. I mean, Longwood and Hampton Sydney, they obviously provide a huge resource here. There's so many eager kids to learn so many things that it seems like. They
give opportunities for our kids that can, audit classes and take classes at the local universities. They're great assets to our community. I can't say enough how much we benefit from having them here. But certainly, again, Longwood, largest employer in the region, right here in our backyard, and the kids that go to Longwood put dollars into our local economy. They shop, they go to restaurants and bars and everything else that a college kid does. But that supports our local economy.
It does, huge. You can sure tell when they're not here, huh?
It does. Things slow down. It's it's nice for both. But I love I think it is great when the freshmen come in August. I think August 21 may be the first day for Longwood this year, and you'll see the families coming to town and loading up and with all the furniture and we're bringing them in and moving them in the dorm rooms.
Yeah, and they're having the Hearts of Virginia at that time too. So it's even more hectic or chaotic. Yeah, we're even doing interns. We're starting to do interns here. So
I got 2 interns at the county right now. We've got one from Longwood who's on the tennis team, and he's working in the county administrator's office on a number of projects. And I've got another one that has attended J. Sargent Reynolds, and he's helping in the planning department and working on a GIS project. So we advertise this year locally and in the paper and with both the college and the university, and it's an exciting process. I was an intern. I worked for the city of Fredericksburg and Spotsylvania County when I was in college and grad school, and you gain invaluable experience.
Yeah, exactly.
And when I went to my first real job interview, it wasn't necessarily, my degree got me in the door, but it was what kind of job experience do you have that really helped me get my job?
Yeah, exactly.
At that time. But it's great to offer opportunities back to people who might be inclined to enter local government field.
Well, I think there's so many college kids that would die at an opportunity to intern and, like you said, get that experience that you can't get anywhere else and head to the right direction. I remember the solar project last time. You mentioned that. I didn't, unless I missed it, I didn't hear any kind of update with that. Or
so we've got, I think now 4 of the smaller community scale solar projects. The first one is built in the eastern end out in Rice. That's completed. We've got the next one is off Thomas Jefferson Highway, Route 47. It looks like that one may go to construction in the next 3 to 6 months.
Nice.
So, We don't have any large application. You see, like Lunenburg has like a 1,500 acre application. They had one that was over 10,000 acres in Charlotte. We have been, I'll say, fortunate, or however you want to call it, but we have not seen that level of activity, though we know folks are out there looking. And there are some sites, I think, like the one that we approved off Rice Creek Road that was about 300 acres. There are maybe a house or two that might see it, but it's pretty well hidden and screened.
Right.
So we've got some locations that may be suitable.
Yeah.
They may be suitable.
You could put some in my yard. It's a very small yard, but I'll take them. Just if you needed somebody to. Well, you also talked about the data center stuff, and that's something else that fascinates me or interests me quite a bit. I think there's a lot of big money in that, and a lot of opportunity.
There is, and we recently, I think we put out a press release. We engaged gentleman Rhett Weiss. Rhett works with a company called Deal Tech. He is an attorney. He's also, I think, licensed realtor, but he is marketing that site for us. Part of his background and experience, he worked for companies like Amazon Web Services and Google in site development around the world, and he is, I'd say, uniquely qualified to help us market our product. And being a citizen of Farmville and Prince Edward, he is invested in the site. He's been helping us for the last year, gratis, to help us move the project along. He has the industry contacts and folks that are in the business that he can reach out to. So it really has been exciting to work with him on the one plus month we've been working. But, sitting down with the folks at Dominion to talk about power availability to the site, sitting down with the state talking about what kind of grant funds, because we know we're going to need to get water and sewer utilities to the site. We've got to make sure fiber's at the site. So we're working through that process, and hopefully the next 6-12 months we'll see some fruit bear from that investment.
A lot of exciting things going on. A lot of fun.
The only other thing I want to mention, we talked last time. We worked on this industrial access road out there at across from the YMCA, and it opens up access. There's about 100 total acres, probably that in the 50 or 60 developable, but those acres did not have access, and this new access road, about 1,500 feet long, will provide that access. It also has a new water line running into it, and we'll be able to market. We'll have additional sites to market for pad ready. Not pad ready, but a couple of the sites are pad ready, but sites to market for potential economic and industrial development.
That's great. It's fantastic. I actually have to do weather and some other business. You're welcome to stay. And if you're out there in the audience, 434-394-0924, you can give us a call. And I don't know if you want to stick around. Well, you do.
I'll stay around for a few minutes.
All right, sounds good. Here we are. This edition of The Weather is brought to you by the Bank of Charlotte County.
Hello, I'm Stuart Wilborn, manager of the Bank of Charlotte County Loan Office in downtown Farmville. With over 30 years of banking experience, I'm here to help you finance your commercial, agricultural, or personal project. Give us a call at 391-1136 or stop by our downtown office at 216 North Main Street, where you'll find old-school personal assistance with attention to detail. The Bank of Charlotte County, giving you more for your banking needs. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Thank you, Stuart. The temperature is 70 degrees out there. It looks pretty nice. There is a 70% chance of showers, storms today with an 84 high, and the storms will be here later in the afternoon and into the evening. Overnight it's going to be 60 degrees with a 50% chance of storms. On Saturday it's going to be sunny at 82 degrees high and 58 low. Sunday very similar with an 84 high and a 63 partly cloudy low. On Monday there's a 40% chance of storms and a high of 84 with a low of 64 and more rain possible overnight. Tuesday, we have 80 degrees and more showers coming your way with an 80 high and a low 64 with 50% chance of rain showers. So it looks like Mother Nature's coming in and going to give the plants a little bit of water so that they can grow. The Bank of Charlotte County with branch locations in Phoenix, Charlotte Courthouse, Brookneal, and their loan offices in downtown Farmville. The birthday calendar is brought to you by Terry Atkins Wilson.
All right, I guess we're doing the full weekend of birthdays.
You got it.
Oh, boy.
Appreciate you
I
coming
figured
in
I'd
here.
spare you this one. All right, so today is the 16th, correct?
Yes.
All right. You win the prize. All right, so for today, happy birthday going out to Belinda M.G.,
Happy birthday.
Darlington Heights. Also today, Kevin Ofer.
Over, yeah.
All right, and so Jeannie Barr, who called in yesterday, that's a birthday for the 17th.
Okay.
So that'll be tomorrow.
Happy birthday, Gina.
All right, and so on today, on our calendar here, Harper Lee Owen, April Hayes, Joanne Jones, and Debbie, is it Nethery?
Yeah, that's
think
what it
so.
is. Yeah.
All right, and then on the 17th, it's Elena, Jaden Cook, and Jack Edward, or Jeb,
Hey, Jeb.
Bowling.
Right on.
And those are the 17th. I guess Sunday, technically, we need to do those too, right?
Yeah.
All right. Is this Deanne DuBois?
Okay.
And we have an anniversary. Lee and Becky Rogers having an anniversary on Father's Day, the 18th.
Happy
So I believe...
anniversary. You going to do the 19th? Oh, no, we're going to be here, aren't we? We're going to be here all day.
There's no
June
holidays
10th.
for radio men?
No, there aren't. Again.
We have to do our due diligence.
The birthday calendar is brought to you by Terry Atkins Wilson.
The law office of Terry Atkins Wilson, PC, is located at 117 North Main Street in downtown Farmville. With deep roots in Farmville and our surrounding communities, Terry and her legal staff specialize in real estate law, wills and trusts, business formations, and collections. Experience and professionalism are extended to every customer in every case. The needs and concerns of every customer are their primary focus. If you have legal needs, contact the law office of Terry Atkins Wilson, PC, for a consultation at 434-392-1422.
All right, John, you got any more?
I got two more.
Right on.
On the 18th, it's Nancy Southall. Actually, I have one more because we're going to be here on the 19th, right?
Right.
Last I checked, anyway. All right, so it's the on the 18th, Nancy Southall having birthday. Did not want to leave anybody out. I believe I've taken care of everybody.
Everybody, yeah. If you didn't, give us a call. Seriously,
You can
434
read me out and not Larry here.
394-0924. Please give us a call. And actually, Doug Stanley stayed for a bit, and he would love to have phone calls from somebody out there at 434-394-0924. Until then, what you got going?
Well, yeah, I think one of the things that's in the paper in the Herald this week is about changes coming for Sandy River Distillery with a restaurant plan for the site. They've got an application into the County Planning Commission to add a restaurant as a use that would be allowed. Mark Smith is a great entrepreneur and a great supporter of Prince Edward County. He serves as chair of our tourism committee, and we're really excited for them. This allow them to grow their business. Right now, I think you go out there for the state rules on tasting. They can serve you up to 2 drinks, so they could expand that. But having food is an option. I've been out there myself. It's a fantastic venue, great asset for Prince Edward County. I've got friends from the Richmond area that it's funny, they'll talk about this great place out in Rice. I'm like, that's in Prince Edward County. Come on down and see us. So, I think it helps us build on what we already currently have, things like, High Bridge and the other 2 state parks and Hotel Wyandotte and the businesses, attractions, restaurants, and things downtown. And so this is just one more thing that hopefully we'll be able to add to that list. So congratulations to Mark and Candace for sticking their neck out again as entrepreneurs and trying to help us grow Prince Edward County in a responsible way.
Well, I'm new to. I've never been out there.
You need to go.
Describe it to me.
Well, it's they've got this beautiful, very rustic they've got a tasting room, but it's really and it's also kind of open shelter, but they've got fire pits. And
log cabin
style.
Okay.
That, it was original. I can't remember the exact date, but historic log cabin that Mark himself so aptly took and restored and placed out there. And of course, they had the fire last year, and they've rebuilt their distillery operation. When Mark does something, I think when he redoes, he even better. He incorporates ideas and changes. So he's improved on operations out there, but. It's a great it's a great space.
Cool.
It's so quiet, and you can see the stars and all the other stuff. But I think I know that they've got an upcoming fundraiser for the Rice Fire Department, pig picking, and
it looks like
community supporters. They support their community and bring tax dollars in for their community. So we enjoy working with them to help them grow. And of course, you have Sandy River Outdoor Adventures, and you have the glamping with the teepees across the street. So you certainly have a range of things to offer.
I get it. That really makes it a little area of destination. I guess.
It really does. It does.
It looks like there's possibly a big outdoor area around this. So, will the restaurant be separated from the distillery, or
that's a good question? Yeah, I actually am looking forward. I mean, I think it'd be part and parcel, but I'm looking to see exactly as far as the layout. Looking to hear more. From Mark when they come to the Plan Commission next week.
Do they have, distilleries kind of open. I'm used to microbreweries or stuff like that in California. Is this a microbrewing place, or is it more hard liquor distillery type
It's distillery, so it's hard liquor, but I think they're doing their bourbon, and I think they have a vodka. I think they've got a couple different products there they're working on. But
how fun.
I tell you what, when you look at the guys, I know Daniel Jordan works out there, and part-time, but you look at some of the folks, they look like they're having a ball with their craft. It really is a craft.
It is. It's science, too.
The chemistry set.
Who's the main taster here today? I wonder if they rotate, each day somebody gets the charge to taste all the distilled.
Is that what you're trying? Are you trying to say you want to volunteer to be a taster?
Yeah. There's not enough. They couldn't make enough for me. So how's the family? How's life in the personal realm?
Oh, I'd just say, Father's Day weekend. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. This is my first day without my father, who I lost in February. So it's going to be different this year. Mm-hmm. But every day we're here is a blessing from God. So I'm excited to celebrate that with my family. But we'll be missing Dad.
I'm assuming you got Monday off too, Juneteenth.
That's correct.
That's pretty
now
nice.
It's a holiday.
Pretty nice to have that.
It is. I've got a meeting. I've got to zoom into a meeting on Monday morning, but for work. But it is good to have the day off and not, especially a lot of our employees, that are the ones that keep us going, the folks that work janitorial staff and work our convenience sites on that. It's great to have for them to get a paid day off. So.
Those people who work, full-time job, I learned, is when you're really working 24/7, because it's always on your mind. It's always happening. So a break like this is really important for
it's
all
good.
of us.
You do. You wake up at 3 a.m, you're thinking about work. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not.
That's full-time work.
That's full-time work.
So you going anywhere, doing anything? What kind of...
My daughter just graduated from the University of Virginia a couple weeks ago, and she's in the middle. She's planned it. She's got upcoming wedding, August 6th, and kudos to Karen's Bridal, who worked with her and got her address. And,
nice. She was here a few days ago. Lovely lady.
Karen's another fantastic asset we have in this community, and I say it's always great when you can find what you need here locally, and we have some great local assets in our community.
I'm learning that more and more. There's nuances to Farmville. It takes a while to understand, I guess. So.
And it is a folks here. It is a great arms open, welcoming community, and a lot of, that transitions to the business community here as well. So,
yes,
but, I appreciate being here and look forward to coming back in July and talking with you after our board meeting.
Thank you so much for coming in. I hope you have a great weekend and the rest of your time. That was Doug Stanley, In the studio today, we always love Doug in the studio. He gives us all the information about what's going on around around the county. So thank you again, Doug. Where are we at now? We are at entertainment news. Let's see what we got going on in the National Day calendar. I could have talked to Doug more today for sure. He looked like he was busy. He's a busy man, but also a very nice man and intelligent person. So today is Las Vegas World Martini Day. That's pretty well loaded up there. Las Vegas trip. It says, experience the ultimate thrill of Las Vegas in the World Martini Day giveaway. An opportunity you don't want to miss. Are you ready to immerse yourself into a glitz and glamour of city? Picture this. All right. I'm going to just pass on that one anyway. International Day of African Child. Cool. That kind of coordinates right into the Juneteenth holiday. So that makes a lot of sense to me. World Sea Turtle Day. Topic close to my heart. I've been lucky enough to swim with turtles over in Hawaii. It's an amazing experience. We actually stayed at a place called Napili Bay. We looked out on there, and Napili means turtle in Hawaiian. So you'd sit there and watch the turtles kind of bob up all over the place. It was a lot of fun, and the marine life was just incredible up there in Napili. International Day of Family Remittance. Let's see here. What do we got going on? Every year on June 16th, the International Day of Family Remittances recognizes the contribution that migrants make to improve the lives of their family members back home. It's also a day for realizing the impact these contributions make on household, communities, and countries. I agree with that immensely. I've known people that have supported families overseas, and it's admirable. I guess it's the best thing I can say about that. Bloomsday, not Doomsday, but Bloomsday is June 16th. Yes, sir. June 16th recognizes the life of the Irish writer James Joyce through the celebration of Bloomsday and reading Walks of Blood. All right, we got one more, and thankfully John's going to come in here and give us some relief from me.
How do you spell relief?
That reminded me of my dad. Yeah, yes. How do you spell that? ROLAIDS.
See how that stuff sticks with you even after all these years?
It was that and plop, plop, fizz, fizz.
Oh, what a relief it is.
Yes.
Those people, whoever wrote those things or came up with them, they knew what they were doing. Now, not so much.
Yeah.
Because it's stuck in your head.
Writing jingles is a lot of fun. Get that catch, get something.
Well, that's what Charlie Sheen's career was on the 2.5 Men show.
Yeah.
He wrote jingles.
Well, it's Wear Blue Day. Friday before Father's Day, you're supposed to wear blue. By wearing blue, you're saying you support the men in your life and to lead a healthy lifestyle and care about their well-being.
You can do anything but step on my blue suede shoes.
Half the people out there wearing blue don't know why, but this is what drove them to it. And the final one on June 16th is Fudge Day.
Fudge.
Except
I didn't say fudge.
What's the best fudge? Where's in Farmville? If you're going to get, can you get like fresh made fudge anywhere in town? And maybe somebody out there.
I'm sure you can.
They could call us.
I'm not sure what those whereabouts would be, but
434-394-0924, and I'd love to have a fudge.
Are you a big fudge kind of guy?
I sort of am, but
okay.
I'm kind of limited to just like a really good chocolate or chocolate with walnuts.
That was my next question. Do you like the stuff with the nuts in it and all that sort of stuff? Okay,
I really do, but I don't like a lot of that like vanilla fudge or yogurt fudge or other kinds of fudge that I don't like. You ever in here and your ears like clogged? And so it's like, and I'm trying to get it out without making terrible sounds.
I suffered through that a couple of years back. I probably told you I was so congested in my head that my ears were both clogged up. I thought I was losing my hearing. It was that bad.
That would be scary.
Yeah.
Man. You don't know how much to appreciate your hearing until it's kind of gone.
Or anything, yeah.
Exactly. I'm grateful every day for all of my
working
senses.
parts, yes.
I can walk, I can talk, I can see, I can smell, I can taste, and I can hear.
Might not do any of those things all that great, but at least I can do them.
You got it. Life is rather simple sometimes. Mm-hmm. I have an article here.
All right.
It says that musicians have shorter lifespans than the general population.
That makes sense.
Does it?
It makes sense in the sense that we have history to look back on and say, yeah.
Yeah. Study looked at longevity and the proportion of suicides, homicides, and accidental deaths.
Well, someone said something to me not too long ago, and it made me stop and think, because I guess I probably knew this, but it came as a revelation when I heard it said to me. You know how they always say comedians are usually tortured souls?
Right.
I think musicians fall in that same category.
They do, absolutely. Yeah. It's that creativity.
But it's to mask something else.
It's to mask our pain.
Right.
It's our pain, John,
right.
that drives us to all this. We need a release.
Exactly.
Yeah. It is, though. Even for me, music's probably my best therapy I can ever do. Do you ever, make up songs? And
I have,
oh
but not
God, my life really is bad. Oh, no. I'll just sing myself into tears sometimes, And once I get there, I know I'm going to be all right. So nobody's calling over this stuff. I'm really surprised. 434-394-09.
They don't want to hear our rendition of Gloom and Despair on the old Hee Haw show.
You know what else I'm wondering on this one is, are they just taking superstar artists? I mean, I guess since it's artists than
more than
musicians.
likely, I would imagine.
But it says musicians.
Okay.
So I don't think so. I think they're actually
maybe they're
looking at that.
all.
It'd be interesting to see what they used as their
gloom, despair, and agony on me. Oh.
I like this one. This one's great. In 2016. Mozart sold more CDs than Beyonce. That's awesome.
That's because he's still around. It's like
right.
It's like those rappers that supposedly got shot and they would keep putting albums out.
It says, in fact, Mozart sold the most CDs in 2016, beating Adele, Drake, Beyonce.
Wow.
Even all of those artists had Grammy-winning hits that year. That's awesome. So I guess it's just all his CDs over time. I mean, it's obviously not Mozart.
Get the Mozart remix.
Oh, I get it. It's because there's a music group released a box set commemorating the 225th anniversary of Mozart's death. 225 years ago. That's serious. I mean, think about that era. Just. It fascinates me. I mean, I think it fascinates Alicia, too, mostly for the costumes and everything. And that fascinates me.
Would you have powdered your wig? Had you been in those
days? The wigs are just so funny. And they still do it today. They still do that. In Australia, I think in England, too. They put on their little wig. Why wouldn't they change that? I mean... You got a bunch of people looking really kind of silly in here, folks. But anyway, singing in a group will boost your mood. I don't think that's a surprise at all. But
no, I don't guess so.
I still think some of the most fantastic musical acts I've ever seen have been a full-size orchestra, the Philadelphia Orchestra, and a college choir. It's just amazing in the right end.
Right.
Have you ever gone to a full orchestra?
No, I can't say that I have.
It's worth doing. It's spiritual, at least for me. Well, this is kind of silly. Some people feel nothing towards music. I pity those fools. But
What are you, Mr. T?
exactly.
I pity the fools.
I was just waiting for you to come up with with the voice.
All right, I throw John this bone. He'll
Yeah,
take it.
exactly. So it says here, let's see, John Wayne has listening to music enhances physical performance. I'm always in for better performance.
Well, that's why people listen to music when they work out and stuff like that.
it
A lot of
motivates
times.
them. Rod Stewart hosted the largest ever free concert. That is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when was that? 1993, New Year's Eve concert.
Yeah, he was still making waves in the music industry at that point.
I know he had a lot of time in his.
Oh wow, yeah. I mean, you think about it. He was like 60s on for a while there. I mean,
Well, I told you I was in the studio with him. I mean, not playing with him, but
Right.
he was there by himself singing, and the headphones weren't working. I was the technician, so I had to go in there and fix it. And Rod Stewart wouldn't let anybody else in the studio except for my boss, D-Rob. And so D's in there, and they hated each other.
Rod and this guy hated each other.
Rod Stewart was nailing my boss to the wall, like you're. This is a piece of dump, you know.
I don't like the way you do my headphones.
But he had a driver. He always did around L.A. Some of the most beautiful women you've ever seen were his drivers, you know. And they would come in, and all the guys in there were just like. They would just salivate over them. And nobody paid attention to Rod. Seriously, everybody was more focused on these ladies.
I'm guilty. I'm a Rod Stewart fan.
I know you are. I was
Up to a point. I mean, just like with most artists, there's a point where they get to where they're doing. Well, he just came out recently and made a comment about how he's rock and roll. He's done with that.
okay.
And has been. I mean, if you've been paying attention, he's been done. I liked him up until like the very early '90s, kind of what era you were just mentioning, the '93-ish era, somewhere in there. I could tell that he was starting to go more of an oldies kind of vibe, and
he did, and he did a good job at recreating and being creative.
He
with
did.
That stuff.
I just wasn't. I liked his pop rock
his
music
earlier
a little
stuff.
bit.
I enjoyed.
But when I finally discovered his stuff with Faces that I didn't know about when I was younger.
Yeah.
Oh man! Other than the one that they would always play, which would be I can't think of the name of it right now, but they didn't really have that many hits, but they had some good music. They were a lot like what the Black Crowes kind of started to be when they first came out. They sounded very similar, I thought.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to I love the Black Crowes too.
Yeah.
Though. So it is that time. You ready to come in and do
I
your
reckon
show?
so.
All right, I'm out of here. Thank you all for being with us at the Call Flow Show, and we thank Doug Stanley again very much for coming in. 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 Much for coming in.